Welcome into NFL Daily. The 2023 Reese's Senior Bowl is here, so we're going to break down a full preview, some top prospects, some sleepers, quarterback conversation, a whole lot of stuff with practices now underway. The first day of practice getting going and underway as we sit here filming this, at least. Now, if you want a Senior Bowl winners and losers video breakdown, whether it's Sunday morning, Monday morning to be determined there, then do me a favor. Share this video right now. Help me show my bosses that this is something you guys want amid NBA trade deadline, free agency, etc. Share the video, whether it's Facebook, Twitter, text it, whatever it is, DM it. Share the video for me right now. Some things I'm going to be watching for through practice, which are much more televised than what they once were, thankfully. Number one is this relatively poor quarterback grouping. It's not the, you're going to have a first-round quarterback since, as we're getting to at the end of today's show, Will Levis did not participate after all. The 6 quarterbacks at the Senior Bowl this year, Jay Kaner, who I like at a Fresno State as kind of a reliable, if there's a Bailey Zappi this year, this is probably who it is, or maybe you want to get ultra-aggressive and go with a Brock Purdy. Jaron Hall, who's got a bit more of the Zach Wilson in his game to an extent, not the biggest. Overall, a pretty small quarterback grouping. Max Duggan at a TCU. Clayton Tune, a bit older. Malik Cunningham was the last addition. He came in pretty small. Tyson Bagent, by the way, out of Shepherd. That's the name to monitor, because if you haven't heard already, his dad is or at least was a professional arm wrestler. Small school, big jump. Very curious how he fares at the Senior Bowl. Now, we're going to get to a lot of prospects on today's show because there's a lot of talent at the Senior Bowl. Jim Nagy does a great job every year of this. Who do you think is the best prospect at the Senior Bowl this year? Head down to the comment section and let me know right now. One of my favorite things to watch is the offensive line against the defensive line. Those one-on-one drills, which have some pros and cons, like, there's not very much stunting. It's one-on-one. It tends, I think, to favor the edges more than anything. But there is a lot of talent on both sides this year. Look at this list of names for the top defensive line edges. I think there are multiple top 50, top 75 prospects here. Andre Carter out of Army. Isaiah Foskey out of Notre Dame. Derek Hall from Auburn. Will McDonald from Iowa State. Those are probably top 50. Maybe one sneaks in the back end of round 1. Keion White got a lot of hype from Mel Kiper and even more from Daniel Jeremiah, which I found fascinating. I'm very curious how he fares. KJ Henry, the edge from Clemson. Keeanu Benton out of Wisconsin is looking really sharp so far at defensive tackle. I like this Byron Young from Alabama more than the Tennessee version. A lot of talent there. Now, every now and then you will see a player have a great first 1 or 2 days of practice and they go, I'm not going to play in the game. But will you watch any of the game or even just the practice, whether it's Twitter clips, online, streaming, whatever it is, NFL Plus having some issues because, of course, they do. But will you watch any of the Senior Bowl? This is the pinned comment on today's video. Y for yes, N for no. If you say no, that's okay. That's why we do the videos recapping it. If you say yes, you're just like me and you're a draft addict. Get those votes in for me in the comment section, the pinned comment right now. Offensive line-wise, a lot of money to be made or lost this week. I'm a big fan of Osiris Torrance, the Florida guard. Curious how he holds up one-on-one in a matchup that won't favor him as much as the road grading stuff did at Florida. A couple centers, John Michael Schmitz, how's that power? Olu Oluwatimi, I think was maybe a bit better college than maybe pro player. Got to get that figured out there. Guard Steve Avila, another powerful player. How does he hold up in pass protection? DeJuan Jones gotten a ton of hype from Ohio State. He's massive. He's got almost 37-inch arms. He's got the longest wingspan in Senior Bowl, and if it ends up holding as that same number in combine history, just a massive human being. Jalen Duncan has some fans. I didn't love him at Maryland. I think it's more traits than production right now. Matthew Bergeron, Darnell Wright have a chance to make some money, lock themselves into being maybe the 5th tackle off the board behind Jones and your big guys, Skoronski and Broderick Jones and Paris Johnson. And the guy I'm very intrigued to watch because I like the small school guys. About Cody Mock, the tackle from North Dakota State. Got some work at left guard today. I think we'll get some center run as well. Doesn't have the arm length to play tackle. Want to kick him inside the guard. I'm very, very intrigued by him. We'll talk more prospects, but it's the Reese's Senior Bowl. So with that in mind, What's your favorite candy? I'm a big fan of Reese's. I will make no apologies for that because I'm a sucker for peanut butter and chocolate. It's funny how that always ends up working out there in the end. So what is your favorite candy? Let us know in the comments section. Number 3 is the limited playmakers. I'm not going to talk much about running backs, though there are many I like. Kenny McIntosh, Roschon Johnson, another guy we'll get to on my sleeper list. But this event does not favor running backs because you're not breaking tackles. It's not how it works outside of the game itself. So practices, not as impactful. The receiver class for me is not as top-heavy as it's been in recent years, but there is some nice depth. But it's not a loaded group as maybe it's been in some years past. I'm a big fan of Rashee Rice. I think he's the best receiver at the Senior Bowl this year. Tight end Luke Musgrave could be maybe a sleeper round 1 pick. I like Ronnie Bell from Michigan. Jonathan Mingo, Xavier Hutchinson have some fans. I thought Charlie Jones flashed this year for Purdue. Nathaniel Dell out of Houston, a very small player, but he's fast. In general, also Davis Allen, maybe a top 50 pick in a loaded tight end class this year. In general, this event favors the receivers over the cornerbacks. Because you're able to do the Hunter Renfrow routes he always runs inside the red zone everywhere at the Senior Bowl. Because Renfrow can actually do them in games. He can buy time for it. Not many other receivers can. It favors the receivers with kind of going rogue and trying to do a bunch of creative routes that you aren't always going to run in the games. It favors receivers over the cornerbacks. I'm curious how they all fare in the practices and, more importantly, the games. Last year, quarterback play was not that great, and it didn't lead to very many big plays at receiver. Hopefully that changes this year. Now, today's show is made possible by our sportsbook partner, BetUS. Head over to chatsports.com/bet and use promo code NFLDaily for a 125% deposit bonus. $100 down minimum to get that sweet, sweet deposit bonus. You can bet on, plenty of draft props later on. Combine, I make so much money every year with the Combine. I do. The over-under bets are great because it's oftentimes, last year, everything over, or I should say under for being faster. This year, they'll adjust it a bit better because the track was just faster for whatever reason it indeed. You guys bet on the Super Bowl, of course, the game, the real game, not the Pro Bowl. No one bet on the Pro Bowl. Please, it's a bad idea. Eagles, now down to a 1-point favorite. Some major spread movement there. Go do it with BetUS. Any sports betting you do it over there. Chatsports.com/bet. Promo code NFLDaily. Number 4, how about some sleepers? Now, we mentioned some smaller school guys already, but there are some very intriguing under-the-radar guys that I would like to mention today. The name you will hear plenty of because he's fast is Andre Ishovas. I think I got that right. I'm going to have to double-check it there because I did not write it down in my script like I told myself I was going to. That is the wide receiver from Princeton, Andre Yoshivas. That's what it is. He's fast. He's going to be the fastest guy at the Combine this year. Joey Fisher is the other Shepherd player. I think he got invited because people watched him watching Tyson Badgett. There is a rep that a scouting buddy of mine put out on social media. It is hilarious. When you're at Shepherd University, bonus points if anyone can tell me where that's at, state-wise. You have to be just a owner of opposing defensive players because those guys are not even really FBS caliber guys. There's one rep of Fisher just like getting his hands on him and literally just ragdolling him to the ground. It's hilarious. It's a hilarious rep in a good way. Darrell Luter Jr. from South Alabama, kind of like him, and kind of like Jalen Tolbert last year. Rajon Wright, the brother of Nashawn Wright at Oregon State as well. Carl Brooks, my Mac guy from Bowling Green. A lot of production for Carl Brooks for BGSU. And Tajay Spears, not the biggest guy, but checked in big enough. Out of Tulane, he's a good running back. I think he could play very well in the game itself. Now, if you want more NFL draft coverage right here on YouTube, we do weekly mock drafts. We'll have plenty of draft pick conversation, etc. Then subscribe. That way you don't miss out to anything right here on Chat Sports. I'll go quick on number 5 and number 6 to an extent as well. Some other top prospects beyond like the running backs, Roschon Johnson, Kenny McIntosh, etc. Chase Brown I did not mention. There are 4 defensive guys I did want to show some love to. J.L. Skinner, the third from Boise, a safety. If you like your safeties built a bit like J-Ron Curse, where they're super tall and super long, it's a good player. Ivan Pace is not the biggest linebacker. DeMarvion Overshone actually kind of is a little bit bigger of a linebacker. But I loved Pace at Miami of Ohio. Transfer to Cincinnati, plays great too. Overshone as well. I don't think, maybe they're not top 50 guys, but, late round 3, or early day 3, I think there's some good value there if they do fall. Tyreek Stevenson could maybe be a top 50 pick as well out of the U. So we got a former Miami of Ohio player and an actual Miami Hurricanes player in there as well. What do you guys like more overall? Is it free agency, the draft? Let me know in the comments section. F for free agency, D for the draft. Number 6, some notable withdrawals / skips / decline to the invite there. Some very notable prospects. There are multiple first-rounders on this list that are not attending. Will Levis, the quarterback, could have helped his stock maybe a little bit, but they've changed the coaching rules this year. They're kind of bringing a wide variety of coaches, not just one or not just 2 staffs. So instead of a situation where, for example, the Bears send down their entire coaching staff since they haven't fired anybody, it's more of a split grouping. So not as much benefit for those QBs just being around the coaching staffs and getting themselves in love for the staffs with the player in mind. Stetson Bennett did not go, which I didn't like. I thought he could have tried to help himself there, try to help out his draft stock because he's not going to be an early pick, and then he got himself arrested. Zach Charbonnet, running back, did not go. Sam Laporta, a good tight end group. Tyree Wilson, Devin Witherspoon, maybe Dalton Kincaid and Siak Ika are going to be first-round picks. Wilson and Witherspoon will be. So I would have loved them to show up one day, dominate, and leave. But you know what? Their draft stock is safe enough, so I get it. Don't risk the injury there. Zach Harrison is going to blow up the combine, so he'll be fine. Jordan Battle, and a couple of guys battling injury too, by the way. I should have mentioned that. Wilson was coming off injury, for example. But those are just some of the notable guys who unfortunately are not there for the scouts and media and coaching staffs. That is it for our Senior Bowl preview. Plenty more NFL draft coverage, so make sure you guys are subscribed.